Forza gave us the chance to get the fastest car in the game once again, the Ferrari 599xx Evo, and I couldn't help but make it even faster. In this video, I will show you the techniques I use to make my cars super fast, capable of winning any race. We will start by understanding the suspension configuration, and with that knowledge, apply techniques that are used by professional racing teams and even Formula 1 that will leave your Ferrari with superhuman handling capabilities. Then, we will understand fundamental concepts of aerodynamics, applying in the most advanced aerospace industries that will allow you to fine-tune the wings and airfoils of your Ferrari to make any curve. And finally, we will finish off with the perfect tire adjustments to allow the car to reach maximum speed in all scenarios, as the game considers the temperature of the tires to calculate the grip. Are you impressed yet? You should be, since you won't find this content on any other YouTube channel. That means it would be a good idea to subscribe now. In addition, if you want this tune, you can find it in the description. That done, let's go straight to the car tuning. This is the Ferrari 599xx Evo, and it shouldn't be in this game. This car is made exclusively to race on closed circuits and not on public roads. Still, we can get this type of car in Forza Horizon 4, and these are the fastest cars in the entire game. That's because they don't need to worry about comfort, only performance. With the right tune, they are unbeatable in the art of racing. The first thing we can do is upgrade just a handful of things, so that's not gonna be the focus of this video. Winning races goes far beyond choosing the right improvements. A crucial point, for example, for success on the tracks is the driver's training with the chosen car and how used to it the driver is, as well as the fine-tuning that the car received. In the world of modifying cars, these settings are called tune, which comes from the idea of refining a note to perfection, as if you are a musical instrument being tuned by the musician to sound, or behave, in the case of cars, the way the driver expects or the musician likes. This Ferrari only received a tire improvement to the top level, as well as a few engine improvements, and that was enough to reach the S2 class maximum. This car is all ready to blast on the tracks, but it won't earn those extra tenths if it doesn't get the right tuning. The first and most important thing, in my opinion, to get better lap times is to have the car behaving the way you expect. This changes a lot from pilot to pilot. In general, it is possible to say that drivers prefer a very specific oversteer characteristic, which is achieved by adjusting the sway bars. Also called anti-roll bars, these components of the car's suspension link the two sides of the suspension together, both in front and rear. Its function is to decrease how much a car tilts during a turn. In addition, the bars also play a role in balancing the car when individually adjusted. Forza itself already includes a long explanation of this on the tuning page, but in a nutshell, we can say that if we increase the rigidity of the rear sway bars, the car will oversteer more. The opposite is also true. If we loosen the rear stiffness, the car will oversteer less. What we're looking for here is the handling feel set in most race cars: neutrality. We do not want the car to understeer or oversteer naturally in the middle of a turn. What we want is for it to simply make that turn without throwing either the front or the rear out and away from the corner. With the car this way, a driver can focus on how much to apply the brakes, on how much to turn the wheel, and when to start accelerating around the corner to make the car turn more with the accelerator and not by its own will. In other words, the driver regains control of how much the car turns, not only with the steering wheel, but also with the accelerator. Incredible, right? Well, if that sounded too complicated for you, just know that with the current tuning, this car corners well, without losing control, and even turns more if you accelerate from the middle to the end of the turn. With this fundamental characteristic of the car's handling tuned, we can turn our attention to another interesting area, mainly in Horizon: aerodynamics. This is a very important part of tuning cars, but many players simply put on the wings and forget to configure them to their liking, which is a big mistake. Airfoils are elements that interfere with the airflow around the car and can generate more grip the greater the flow around the element. That way, the faster you're going, the greater the flow and the greater the aerodynamic force. However, there is an intrinsic problem with the way the wing works. In a car, it creates a low-pressure zone on its underside and a high-pressure zone on its upper side. This way, the resulting force is one that pushes the wing and the car downwards. But there's a catch. The wing interferes with the airflow and generates turbulence, which contributes to the car's deceleration with a force that resists its movement. So, the more aggressive your wing is, the better cornering ability your car will have, but the lower your top speed will be because of drag. Now, this improvement in the car's handling only occurs at medium and high speeds, since at low speeds, there's no significant amount of air passing through the wings to generate a downforce effect. Therefore, the tuning happens as follows. After installing the front and rear spoilers, you need to go through high and medium speed curves. For this, it's best to enter a Rivals event on any track that is representative of the average track in the game. For example, one that contains easy, sharp, and medium curves, as well as long stretch sectors to reach high speeds. On these tracks, if you have trouble completing corners at high speeds because the front of the car doesn't seem to turn off and slides out of the corner, it's time to increase the pressure in the front wings. If you make these turns and the rear of the car seems loose, or your car seems to turn without your command, more aerodynamic aggressiveness is needed at the back. And finally, if your car is making the turn with ease, you can dial it down a bit until you start having difficulty making it and go one step back to the perfect setting. This ends our aerodynamic configuration, but there is still a type of traction that, if you've been following the channel for a while, you already know, or at least you should know: mechanical grip. Tires are the last link in the chain that will allow you to master the tracks in this game, in any game, or even in real life. Professional racing teams take advantage of various tricks to find out if the suspension settings are ideal for both the car and the track. One of these tricks has to do with the tire's temperatures, which is related to their wear and grip. See, the tires heat up according to your driving. The more the car runs, the more energy is put into the tires and their temperatures consequently increase. If the tires are being heated evenly, this is a sign that their grip on track is maximum. Race cars typically use a negative camber setting. This means that the wheels and tires are slightly angled inwards, and they start to heat up and wear out in the inside. By opening telemetry, pressing T on the keyboard, or changing a setting in the Xbox, we can see the temperature changing in the tires in real time. You will see the blue color disappear from the tires, indicating that they are entering the operating temperature. If after many laps your tires still have a blue stripe, the ideal is to change the camber to more negative or more positive, if the outside or the inside respectively are still cold as time passes and laps fly by. That way, your tires will be at the best operating temperature during races and will give you the greatest grip for your best performance in any situation. Do not forget to subscribe, and that to be the fastest, you need to train, train, and train. Always in the car you're gonna use in the game races. So, the more you get used to the car, the faster it'll be. And at the end of the day, what counts is having fun. So don't worry if you're not quick as soon as you get on this machine.